Death Star, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all the sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Rewind to May the 4th and the release of the Bad Batch. We were thinking that after that, Star Wars news was going to be coming at us at light speed. Well, this week it seems someone wanted to prove us all wrong. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm looking at the news lineup and I'm going, that doesn't seem right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, these things happen, but you know.
Well, it's crazy because it seems like now they're saying, okay, yes, we're starting to get things going. We're going to open up hotels to book for Celebration. Celebration is going to happen. Now we don't have to talk about anything anymore. We can just do it at Celebration.
Right. Yeah, that might be par for the course, you know. I shouldn't say par for the course, but I mean, there's always a little bit of that, you know, when they have these outlets where they can release info to us, you know. But hey,
yeah, it's like they just felt like, oh wow, we were just way too loosey goosey with all that Star Wars news because we didn't think we were going to have a convention again. And
right.
Quick, shut up.
Exactly.
It's wild how fast things can change like that.
Yeah.
And who knows, this just could be a quiet week. But there is literally nothing going on. Like I this is going to sound weird to say it like this, but like I even went looking in places where I know they're full of shit.
Right.
And even they didn't have anything going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny like that, but hey, you know, we'll figure out something to talk about.
No, we got stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about. It's Star Wars, right?
Absolutely.
We can just make stuff up. Like, we can just come up with stuff out of thin air to talk about. That's what we did all the time. That's how we filled our time at times.
Exactly.
Back before we had all this content.
Right.
So that's what we're going to end up doing. But there is some news. People are out there talking. And in particular, Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
She's out talking. What is she out talking for a particular project or? Or is it just retrospect?
I believe
Star
this
Wars,
was
Raya.
This was I think what they called a ladies' night thing that Collider did. So.
Oh, okay.
And yes, those were the two main subjects, right? Star Wars and Raya. So, you know, obviously, when you have an actor from Star Wars on a show, you know, there's plenty of Star Wars to talk about. So, and there's been a lot, you know, a lot of stuff has gone down with Kelly Marie Tran in the past, and like, you know, a lot of negative stuff, and you know, I have to say, you know, I listened to this and I thought, wow, this is pretty balanced. I liked a lot of how she handled some of this stuff, and she, I don't know. I guess we can just get into it. But
right.
The first thing that, you know, caught my ear here was they were talking about her line in the Last Jedi. She's talking with Finn about what was the line? Putting her fist through the whole lousy, beautiful city line.
Yep.
And you know, they asked her if she thought that line was misunderstood by people.
I love that scene. I mean, I'm biased, so I guess I can say that. But yeah, and it's weird when you're in a movie and then you sort of, you know, once the movie goes out into the world, your experience with when I watched that movie, it's like I remember how I felt that day. I remember John and I walking on set and being like, this is the biggest set we'll ever be on, and seeing all of the creatures moving and being part of this universe. Like, these are the things I remember about being on set that day. I think, like you said, that scene does a lot for, really recognizing how certain communities who are able to enjoy their privilege live in a world where they don't even have to address some of the horrible things other people are dealing with. I love that scene.
So, okay, she loves that scene.
Well, I mean, so from my standpoint, that's one of Rose's strongest scenes in her entire appearance in Star Wars.
Yes.
Whatever you think, I don't think there's much issue with this scene, right?
Right.
Like, there's not much pushback to the scene. There's more pushback to the whole Canto Bite thing, and the reason is because they were on this quest. There was all this, flash and craziness that went down, and all for nothing.
Yeah, that's a lot
They
of it.
didn't achieve anything.
Right.
And so I think that's being a little misconstrued, because that line I thought was one of her strongest moments, and she revealed why, the resistance was important to her, and it showed the little bit of bias that there is from these characters to their side.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it got expanded later with DJ, right?
Right. That's the part right there that, I mean, you're correct when you say this is one of her strongest scenes in the movie, because you can definitely feel it, right? Talking about how the First Order came to our planet and they just took over and they stripped it for all of its natural resources, and she got that side of things, right? But then later on it was enlightening from character of DJ that these people make money not just off the First Order but also off the New Republic. So
right.
It's,
and without this scene, that one doesn't have the bite that it has.
Exactly.
So this was a really great scene out of Kelly Marie Tran. It conveyed that, like I said, that bias towards your side, not realizing that, okay, yeah, you're mad at these people because they're doing this for the First Order, but they're also doing it for your side too.
Right.
These people are just there to profit. This is, I mean, if anything, she's right. These are the evil people in the universe.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
The credit is what's important.
Yeah, totally. So I don't know. For me, I love the fact that she loves that scene. I almost feel like the question in the first place is where things are a little wonky. You know what I'm saying? Because the question is, if she thinks people misunderstand that scene. I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of like in your face as to what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
there's to get at this layer of stuff in prior Star Wars, like I'm gonna go like OT, right? You got to dig further. You got to dig deeper. You know what I'm saying? It's not so right there, but
right, but I don't think the question is like completely off, because there is definitely some misunderstanding of this scene, and it almost goes back to the bias of your side that I was talking about for the Resistance or the First Order.
Yeah.
And it's the same in this whole split in Star Wars fandom, right? Where you got the everything before the Disney takeover and everything after.
Right.
It's that same kind of thing, because the people that are 100% OT or PT or whatever, they hate everything to do with Canto Bight. And I shouldn't say they as a generalized statement. It's not everybody. But they hate everything to do with Canto Bight no matter what. And this scene does get overlooked because of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But this really is a good scene.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of the better scenes, in my opinion, of The Last Jedi as a whole.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it just,
No, I get it.
It was one of the meatiest of the scenes and it becomes that because of what happens with DJ and all that. And
I just feel like you could, don't take this wrong, but you could change the names and change the organizations, and it would fit into many stories. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. But I mean, that's kind of the point, right?
Yes, it is.
I think that's the point there.
It
is that this is a never-ending cycle.
Right.
And, it's a never-ending cycle because, people who seek power are going to be able to make moves at their aspirations, because there's always people willing to profit off of it.
Absolutely.
So evil people will always be able to do what they want to do, because there's always a group out there willing to profit off it and double down on it, sell to both sides.
Right.
Profit leads all that crap.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that, because one of the things that gets hated on about the prequel trilogy is the politics involved, right?
Right.
People hate on the whole politics, like, why do you have to put all the politics in it? Well, it's kind of important when you're talking about war.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to war without politics.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, and this is one of those moments that I think Rian Johnson really did nail it, as far as like linking it to the Lucas-like Star Wars. Because he really conveyed that political strife that led to all this war.
Wow. Okay. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole here, but
that's fine.
You're making me think. Okay, it's like I almost feel like this. If this plot point were pursued a little further, and they actually went down the rabbit hole of it a little deeper, it probably could have made the whole film a little better. If they'd
disagree.
Focus their energy on these machinations as opposed to some of the other places where they did, force timing and all that. This could have made for a better movie, I think, because going down, it would have put the movie squarely in a more more of the military aspect of it, right? Less of the force wielders, but that would have been okay, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, that really would have been the more traditional way to go,
right?
I mean, even with the OT, it focused more on that kind of stuff than it did on the force users. The force users were like the icing on the cake.
Yes.
Whereas the cake was all this stuff. And I absolutely agree. If they would have developed this whole thing a little bit more, I mean, it definitely has more, drama, things like that than, like you said, force timing.
Right.
No, they made the decision that Rey and Kylo were the route they wanted to go, and they went with that.
Yeah.
This other stuff was just filler, and I think could have reversed that.
Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it now, that probably would have made it. Oh man, it probably would have helped make everything make more sense. Huh. Interesting. I don't know. We might have to explore that down the road sometime. I think that could be an interesting topic on its own.
I think, in all honesty, I think a Last Jedi rewatch with these kind of things in mind is something we should explore. We should look at this.
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea.
Because there's definitely more of this in there to pick out that's just not right there on top of your heads, like
Right.
like these big moments. Because this and the DJ moment, those are big moments.
Right.
So some of the other moments that happen along the way might be worth exploring and expanding on, and just time to go down that rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What if this was explored more?
Yes. I like it. Okay, well, keeping this on Kelly Marie Tran, she was also asked about she called it a monologue of Rose telling Finn about her past and things, and kind of asked how you know, she had the what was it? She had the audience in mind when she was delivering that performance, and I gotta say, yeah, again there, I think the answer was better than the question, but I liked how she answered this.
I think for me, I really try not to think about the audience at all. I try to think about where that character is and what they're actually feeling, and so much of Rose in that moment, so much of the things that she said, I remember getting those sides and reading that, reading those sides and working on it. And I was like, I feel like this character is inside of me, because so much of my upbringing was that, my parents are also from a war-torn country. They had to leave their home in order to escape it. We lived in a world where we lived in a pretty well-off community, but it was because my parents saved every penny, and we never went on vacation, and they never bought clothes so that we could go move to an area that had good public schools. So to be able to exist in a community where I think people weren't really aware of the struggles that it took other people to even exist, I relate to that. And I think that for that moment, and for me, just as an actor in general, I never want to think about how I'm affecting the audience. I always want to think about, what is this person really feeling in this moment, and be really specific and really understand, I guess, that part of human existence. And I think that if you can do that, if you can, as much as possible, just be honest and be okay with being seen, even if it's scary, then I think people understand that and are able to relate to that.
So
I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that too. I like the way she answered it. As a performer, if you're constantly thinking about how the audience is going to perceive something, it's never going to be good. You have to get yourself lost in the moment of what you're doing.
Well, if you got to think about, like, what would X person or Y person, like, what would they think about this performance? Would they like this? Well, is X person or Y person a writer? Because if they were so good at figuring out what's a good story, they would be doing this.
Right.
I don't like the whole, like, let's cater to the audience all the time. That's a horrible idea.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
The audience doesn't even know what they want. You can give them exactly what they want, and they're still pissed off about it.
There will always be a certain percentage, yes, for sure. And I do like that she had a channel, in a personal channel, to relate to Rose's past in this, right? She had definite, I guess we'd call it, secondhand experience from her parents,
right?
On how, she could kind of tie it to the character of Rose. And, she clearly says right in there, you know, she had a decent upbringing, you know. Her parents worked very hard to get her into a spot where she didn't have to, you know, deal with a whole lot of hardship, you know. So, which is good. But she also...
That's a definite thing that people who come from war-torn areas tend to do.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, when you've seen the worst of the worst, you don't want to see that again.
Exactly. But then she also had that conduit to you know, their experience.
Yeah, I mean, to get a first-hand account from people who lived it, saw it, you know, she's definitely got a leg up on what, like, that kind of shit is like.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I believe she's from Vietnam, right? Or no, she's not. Her parents are from Vietnam.
Okay.
And, you know, they lived through the war there.
Right.
So, yeah, that's not a good thing to live through.
No. No.
That was a very nasty war.
Yes, exactly. So
yeah, to get those first-hand accounts, it's got to stick with you.
Yep. So, yeah, pretty cool. I again, you know, and I don't know, I'm not trying to beat anybody up here, but I think the answer was better than the question for sure.
Yeah. Just real quick, just to circle back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, to talk about like what audiences want and doing what the audience want, the audience still being not happy about it. The latest Mortal Kombat movie that came out.
Yeah.
You know, one of the complaints from the older Mortal Kombat movies was it wasn't enough like the video game, right? Like,
okay.
Like it was dulled down, things like that. It wasn't like the video game. It wasn't like the video game. Well, this one that they did was exactly like the video game.
Right.
The movie was like watching video game cinematic after cinematic after cinematic after cinematic. Not super meaty, not a ton of story.
Right.
People are still mad.
Of course.
Exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
Mad. So yeah, don't let the audience.
Exactly. No, I get your point. Yeah, if they can say they want it more like the video game, but just because they say that doesn't mean they mean that, right?
Then they do it and they're like, "Come on, make a movie, bro."
Yeah. Exactly. So, the one last thing I took note of was her response to the question of what she thought of how much Rose was in The Rise of Skywalker. And, you know, the woman asking the question actually, you know, it was clear that she wanted more Rose in The Rise of Skywalker. But here's what Kelly Marie Tran had to say.
It's hard. You know, I think as an actor, you don't really have control over what is happening in a narrative, if that makes sense. And I think, you know, as an actor and as an individual, I always try to take my expectations out of a situation because I also want to, as much as possible, try and be present in experience. I am really, really proud of the way that I've been able to sort of show up for myself during this whole journey. Because again, like if we're going through my, you know, my journey and my career, like I went from sketch comedy and doing improv in indie theaters to then doing Star Wars. And then from there doing, like it's nonsensical. It's miraculous, nonsensical, magical stuff that for me, I just want people to know and believe that you might go through certain times in your life that are hard and difficult, but coming out on the other side of that and having your support group and being with people who believe in you, there's nothing like it in the entire world. And I think for me, moving from, you know, the Star Wars experiences to then going to Raya has been absolutely miraculous. And Raya for me is about celebrating the parts of myself that as a child I was taught that I should hide, and what a poetic healing experience that has been.
So, I mean, she answered that very professionally. I like that.
Absolutely. I mean, she basically said, I was brought on to do a job. I did my job.
Right.
I did my part. I got paid.
I am reminded of Mark Hamill's response to what he thought of, the character of Luke in The Last Jedi. He's like, hey, I'm like the bass player in a band, I go in there, I try to play my bass line the best that I can. But ultimately...
Do bass players do that?
Yeah, you're funny. But you know what I'm saying? He's like, I went in there, I played my bass line the best I could, and that's what I did, But
yeah, I mean,
it's...
I mean, yeah, I like the lack of arrogance that she has, right? Like,
absolutely.
This is one of the things that I really liked about Kelly Marie Tran back during the promotion for The Last Jedi. She's embracing what she gets to do.
Yep.
She knows that, like, this is going to lead to so much more. And, it's almost crazy to say, but you're almost better off having a smaller part in Star Wars.
Sometimes, yeah.
than a huge part, like, because then you get typecasted, right?
Right. Although she is going on that same road as Mark Hamill, voice acting next, right?
Yeah, but I think doing a lead for a Disney film is way different. Like,
oh yeah. Mark Hamill's playing psychopath killers.
Yeah, she's no, I love her approach to this stuff. She's always been very positive all along the way, and that's what I couldn't stop talking about in the beginning. I mean, if you go back and listen to when we were talking about the promotional content for The Last Jedi, I talked repeatedly about the positivity and the just excitement and joy that she was bringing to the promotion of The Last Jedi.
Absolutely.
And she's never stops.
Right. I gotta say, she even touches on, a little darkness going on or whatever throughout this whole process in this answer, right? But she also tells, explains, look, every road's got its dips, and, you gotta just work through that, and everything's going to come out better, and you're going to be better off as a person for it coming out the other side. And I think that's the message that people need to focus on,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like I said, she was always so positive, and just her energy was intoxicating. And even still, she took the bad, she rolled with the punches, she just got out. When it started doing that, she just got out.
Yep.
Now, she should not have been forced off social media, and everything that happened to her was absolutely just, awful.
Yeah.
Should not have happened, and people should be ashamed of themselves for what happened. Like, that was ridiculous. It's a movie.
Right.
And a person acting out their part that was written by someone else does not deserve what she got. Period.
Right.
Especially someone who was such a bright spot in everything leading up to it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what you're referring to is her, her, as fans, we're watching her with all this wonderment, and like every event she went to and every interview she was giving at the time was, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. That was the cool part, watching all that as it happened. So I don't know. She's definitely, I love the fact that she's come through all of that and is positive and moving forward, and good things are happening for her. So.
Right. It was the whole Clone Wars experience kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
We got so excited about seeing these people that were voice acting. You never had the veil pulled back on voice acting like you did during the Clone Wars.
Right.
You know, that just didn't happen. It wasn't that involved before then. But you had all these people coming out so excited to be a part of Star Wars, and it was intoxicating. It you know, you really got drawn to these people because of their excitement. And here was a live action actor carrying that same attitude,
Right.
that same energy. And it should have been embraced.
Yeah.
You know, I dug it from the beginning. I couldn't stop talking about her when it started.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I'm happy that she sees the positives in all this and looks past all the negative, because she really didn't deserve it.
Right.
You know, I have my issues with how Rose's story played out, sure, but
Not
she
her
didn't
fault.
deserve any of that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, just it's good to hear. Good to hear. Have something to add to the conversation, or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, now it's time to talk The Bad Batch.
Yeah.
So we're talking episode 5 of this first season. Hopefully it's the first season.
Right. Oh, I got a feeling we're going to be multiple into this. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking episode 5, Rampage. Well, thoughts? What do you think?
Thoughts. Well, this was a cool episode. I dug it. You know, they're setting things up some more, you know. You know, you might not think that it's got a whole lot to it, but there's some neat stuff.
Yeah, there's nuggets, but I all in all, there's not a ton to it. It was a setup.
Definitely.
You know, the crew's looking for the identity of the bounty hunter searching for them.
Yep.
It's an obvious move to go to a shady
Right.
a shady character to try and find this info.
Uh-huh. Although you say shady character, but this is someone who's worked with the Jedi in the past. So, you know,
Hondo Ohnaka worked with a Jedi.
okay. I see your point. Right. So right off the bat, before we even get there, just from a parent perspective, the way this episode started was it just made me smile because here we have the Bad Batch, you know, giving Omega, okay, here's your cell phone, right? This is not a toy. Don't lose it, you know. Don't play around with it. And then, you know, heading out on the streets of Ord Mantell. Okay, remember the rules? You know, it's like everything you go over with your kids. And it's like,
Yep.
That's amazing. I loved it because.
What's the first thing they do? Break the rules.
Kinda, yeah. As far as the kid goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just
I love that scene where she just walks behind him. Echo.
exactly. Yeah.
And she picked the biggest curmudgeon of the group.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But you know,
because you think of the other character, like Wrecker would have totally played along.
Oh, totally. Now, even when they go and meet Sid, you know, and Omega's the one who finds out, figures out, hey, this is Sid right here.
Yep.
And Sid says, the kid's the brains of your bunch. Wrecker gives her a high five, or low five. That was funny.
Well, I mean, Wrecker agrees.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrecker's got one thing on the mind, man: smash,
yes,
blow stuff up.
Yeah, for sure. The way they're incorporating Omega into this, for me, has been, what's the best way to, it's been very good. I don't know how else to put it. It's been done well. So
yes,
I this isn't the annoying kid who needs to be rescued every week, or is the one causing problems, or
No, they fit that in real good ways. With
yes,
each one being a learning experience.
yep,
It's not the typical, like, to use a phrase, damsel in distress kind of situation every time.
right,
It's something that it's put out there in a way that she's just not wise to the situation.
exactly,
She's not wise to the fact that there's danger here.
right,
It's not pure, kid stupidity or whatever. It's learning.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? They're showing how she's being taught from the last episode to this episode. Okay, we know what happened, so here's what we're gonna do to try and prevent that from happening again. And as a parent, that's like so right on. I don't know.
Well,
It's
this
cool.
episode shows she's actually starting to become a functional member of the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
She didn't quite get there as far as success goes. Got caught at the last second,
Right.
but got a lot farther than she would have last week.
Yeah. And she got far enough to make everything happen to get the rest of the group involved, so
Right.
that was good. So
yeah, it was executed successfully,
yes,
not perfectly.
right.
So I do want to circle back a little bit.
Yeah.
We were talking about Wrecker and Omega's relationship there.
Right.
And they're really building this relationship between them. Wrecker's really starting to have, kind of affection for Omega.
Sure.
He's really starting to bond. And we keep seeing this moment with Wrecker where he's having these head pains.
Yeah.
And that's actually like starting to scare me for what might happen.
Yeah.
Because they're building this bond, but at the same time, they're giving subtle hints that he may not be able to keep the chip under control.
So, yes, we are definitely being led down that path, which makes me believe it's probably going to twist another way somehow, some way. I don't know. We do also know that Tech has been working on a device to try and figure these things out, fix them, whatever. So when this does come to pass, I got a feeling that, yes, Wrecker's probably going to flip out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a feeling they're going to be able to rein that in pretty quick.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that it's going to be like, kind of gut-wrenching when it does happen.
Oh, I'm sure.
With this relationship that they're building.
I mean, it'll be good TV if it does happen that way, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
So, uh, I don't know. I heard the notion being talked about that we might witness the Bad Batch one by one all eventually turn via the chips. And I can't follow that notion because I have a feeling that these guys are going to get past that somehow.
Yeah, I feel like that would end up being a little boring.
Boring and just dark, we're coming to care about all these characters and to just watch them all, eventually, turn to the wrong side of what we would consider the wrong side of this battle. That'd be just, dark.
No,
So
I mean, so if there's anything I've noticed with Star Wars animation is we're going to have one huge emotional moment.
oh yeah,
We saw it with the Clone Wars, with Ahsoka leaving the temple.
sure.
We saw it in Rebels with the death of Kanan. I mean, these were giant emotional moments, and they hit really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
But they were only like giant moments because Dave Filoni gets this, right? This is a kid's show.
Absolutely.
You can't overdo that.
Yeah,
We can't have 4 emotional moments along the way here. Like the 4th one's going to be like, yeah, whatever.
exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we'll see something happen there.
Yeah,
And I think that's gonna.
They're really hitting on that chip really bothering him,
right.
and it really sucks because he's the most lighthearted character on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. But like I said, I do think that this is, in the end, it's going to turn out okay. But I do believe it's going to be a pretty, you use the term gut wrenching. I think, yeah, gut wrenching moment for Omega when it happens. So,
I mean, I almost hate to say it. Like I feel like Wrecker might. We expect that Crosshair is going to be the one that's not going to make it out of this.
right.
I have a feeling that Wrecker is going to be the one that's not going to make it out,
Oh, okay.
and that Crosshair is going to be turned in the end.
Wow. Interesting.
I could be way off. I just feel like it's building that direction, and it scares the hell out of me, man, because I
Yeah.
really like Wrecker.
I was gonna say that would be a tough way to go. That's for sure. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
yeah. No, I was just thinking. I just okay. I want to kind of like get back to focusing on this episode at hand here. So
Yeah.
so tell me you didn't know right out of the gate who that was talking to Sid in the hologram. I mean, who wanted what was it, Moochie?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to see Bib Fortuna. It was like somehow I knew right away, and it was like that was cool.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I do want to.
yeah,
I do want to say that the fact that there was a Rancor and Bib Fortuna shows up, that's kind of like, really?
oh, really?
Like, it was cool, right, to see Bib Fortuna show up, but like at the same time, I was kind of like, is this the way we're going with this? This is another one of Jabba's Rancors, or?
Well, that's kind of the impression I get. I mean,
yeah.
So you didn't like it, huh?
I didn't dislike it,
Okay.
but I will say it was kind of a. I don't know if that was the best move. Like, you know how I feel about bringing characters in just for the sake of doing it, and I feel like it makes the universe feel small at times. This was one of those moments. You know, it was starting to seem big for a moment in this show, especially because you're not getting a ton of characters that are connected to original trilogy, things like that. It seemed to be, it was expanding. Okay, shrink it a bit.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll give you that. I don't know. That didn't bother me at all, really. I just like seeing, the OT character. And when you think about it, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not we might see Boba Fett in this show. And that could be kind of somehow, some way, some sort of a tie-in, Bib Fortuna. Maybe Boba Fett is working for Jabba at this point. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't think so. Well, but I do think Daniel Logan's Boba Fett is the one that is being contacted by Fennec Shand. I believe they had a connection prior to The Mandalorian.
Okay.
That's why the whole bond between them was so quick to happen.
And it kind of makes sense. It makes sense. It would make that bond and how quick it did happen make sense. So, this is going to be kind of like the backstory for that. That kind of works.
I'm thinking, Daniel Logan's Boba Fett, right? Like pre-Armor days, right?
Right.
I think we're going to see that.
Well, that would be cool. So we also had another callback, and this is to the Clone Wars. This dealing with these Zagarians, slave traders.
Yep.
So, there was a whole arc in the Clone Wars where Anakin and Ahsoka had to deal with them, and Ahsoka posed as a slave and all that to, infiltrate, and it's like, here we are again, and these guys are like, hey, with the Republic gone, under this new empire, we can finally get back to business as usual.
Right.
And it's clear when the Bad Batch sees who it is and what they're all about. It's like you can see their disgust in it. And it was,
yeah.
And then so this episode's got there's a lot of stuff that we'll call them callbacks, right? You see a couple of the prisoners that they had there were Phalines, and it's like, hey, that is, for me, that's a callback to Shadows of the Empire. Shizor, right?
Yep.
So, kind of cool. I don't know. It's cool to see, I got, what would you call them? That race of people being drawn from the book and stuff,
Yeah. And I do enjoy that because that is the part I'm talking about where it's kind of expanding.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This universe is big.
Right.
And then I feel like they always anchor it with, okay, let's bring it back down. And maybe that's their way to make it feel like it's always growing, is by always putting an anchor in there to hold it back every episode.
Maybe.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like, dude, does it really have to be Bib Fortuna right here? I mean, so far, the Bad Batch has not done this a ton.
Right.
I still, even though we had Rebels, I still consider a Kanan Jarrus or, Caleb Dune appearance as expansion. Right?
Okay.
But when a Luke Skywalker or a Boba Fett or a Bib Fortuna shows up, that's shrinking it back down.
Huh. See, I don't know. I guess I don't look at it in those kind of terms. I guess I'm the type of viewer that just watches and goes with the flow and just takes it all in. You know,
Like I said, don't take me the wrong way. Just like right before you guys said I hate Star Wars when we were talking about The Mandalorian, I said don't take me the wrong way. I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I want to see it continue to expand. Like this is I talk about Caleb. We saw Kanan. We never really saw Caleb.
Right.
So it's the same person, but it's two different persons at the same time. So you're not really, using that as a grounding, right? Whereas like with bringing Ahsoka in again, or bringing in Boba Fett, or bringing in Luke Skywalker, who else did they bring in The Mandalorian? I feel like I'm missing one. I may be wrong though.
I think we revisited some from season 1, so.
Right, but that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't bother me because the other stuff doesn't bother me. It's just when I see these new stories, I'm always so intrigued by all the new characters that every time we step back, I'm kind of like, I don't know why we had to go there. We can do an Ahsoka series, but we don't need to start it here. We can do this. We don't need to start it here. And I know it's like, oh, the casual fan. Well, the casual fan, they didn't care about the Clone Wars anyway. So why do
Well,
yeah. We didn't have to introduce The Mandalorian before we had The Mandalorian. Why do we have to introduce Ahsoka?
Well,
I feel like Star Wars is in a position where we don't have to do the launch pad like Marvel.
I got
to
you.
launch a new series.
I got you. Well, I would say okay. We're on the wrong.
That's fine.
Yeah. But as far as Ahsoka goes, I think she was also there as a tool for us to learn more about Grogu and where to take him next and whatnot. But
I would agree if they really would have built on that, but those were like one sentence moments.
Oh, sure.
And it just didn't seem like it was necessary.
It was there for both purposes. I'm not, clearly in that, Ahsoka talked about Thrawn and all that, but it was there for both purposes. There's no doubt about that. I will say I thought it was pretty cool. It was a nice episode.
Yeah, and we can circle back. I was just expanding on what I thought about Bib Fortuna.
Yeah. All right.
Don't hate it, but I still don't feel it was necessary.
Okay.
I feel like that could have been anyone and it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay. I think the big thing there was that this Moochie that they have to go and rescue was actually a Rancor,
Yes.
And we can Bib Fortuna is somebody we can kind of associate with Rancors,
Right.
It's like ha, see what you did there kind of thing. So
yeah,
that was kind of cool.
One of 3 people that we can associate with Rancors, apparently.
Yeah, well. So as far as the Rancor goes, they Omega releases Moochie Muchi wreaks havoc on the Zagarians, along with the Bad Batch. And in order to get the Rancor to submit, who do we have? You know, the guy with the headache, right?
Yeah, and I love how that worked out, right? Like they're just trading blows.
Yes, exactly.
Like I'm just watching him get hit in the head. I'm like, oh, this is gonna go well.
Exactly. So
I love his excitement towards it though when Tech explains it, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Like you got to do this. He's like, got it.
Yep.
He just runs in to go fisticuffs with a Rancor. Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
Exactly.
This is why I love Wrecker.
Yes. That yeah. Yep. No more explaining needs to be done. I'm on this. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so what we need now is a WWF match between Wrecker and a Rancor.
Yep. So couple of points. Okay, I want to hit a couple of points here. One, we saw Omega using some sort of a bow in the trailer, in the pre-season release trailer, and here we see her pick it up. She doesn't use it yet, but she picks it up, and it's kind of interesting. I think she's going to have this unique weapon, and she has a comm, now she has a weapon. She's becoming more and more a functional part of this crew.
Yes.
So that's going to be kind of cool to see. And then I guess, we're going to be tying this up here, but what'd you think about Sid at the end of this? She talks to Hunter alone. Here's your cut of the credits, and
here's the bounty hunter.
Yeah, here's the bounty hunter. This is what we know. But, seeing as how you got someone like this on your tail, it could benefit you knowing me.
Right.
And I'm good at keeping secrets. I mean, did you see that as kind of like a, an underhanded, not underhand, but like a disguised threat? Like,
yeah, like,
you better stay.
If you don't do more jobs for me, I'm gonna rat you out.
Exactly. That's what I was kind of thinking too. So I got a feeling this.
And you pushed back on my shady character comment.
Well, okay. Yes.
I just want to circle back to that for a second.
Well, I did, because it was mainly because of the whole Jedi relationship. But I mean, you brought that into the different light for me right away, because you're right. Hondo is definitely a shady character. So, I mean, Sid could be this series Hondo,
until Hondo shows up.
Until he shows up, yeah. Sid, long time no see.
You know what? I think you just previewed his first line.
Yeah, probably. That's funny. But
oh, look at the time.
Yeah. So I got a feeling though that we're going to be seeing more of Sid.
Agreed.
And she'll have more.
I think we just found our team's source of income.
Yes, absolutely. That is something that was kind of like looming over their heads. And yes, now I think this is going to be not a problem anymore. The money's not the problem. It's where the money comes from that's going to be the problem.
Yeah,
eventually.
I think that even I kind of expected them to become a almost mercenary type squad, and they even hit on that.
Yeah, Sid called them that.
Called them that, and they were
what?
like offended.
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, don't you realize you're like the perfect mercenaries?
Right.
So, yeah, I think mercenary type jobs, that's their future.
Yep. Which is cool. You know, everything's falling. I shouldn't say it's falling into place for the, but the cards are falling where they may here for the Bad Batch. I mean, you know, when everything goes down, Order 66 happens. They're like, what the heck do we do now? But
right.
You know, as things progress here, where you know things are falling into place where they're going to be able to okay, we have a foundation, we have a source of income. You know, we can keep rolling. You know, we'll do this, but we're also going to try and figure things out for ourselves. You know, as we're becoming mercenaries. So,
right.
But I don't know. Overall, I dug the episode. It was good. I can't wait to see where it goes, and I really hope you're right about you know, Fennec Shan's contact there.
Oh, Boba Fett?
Yeah. It'd be good.
Yeah, the one time you're going to hear from me, I'm hoping for Boba Fett.
I know. Well, it won't be long. You're going to be getting plenty of Boba Fett, so.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we about covered it.
All right. We will talk next week.